Okay, so what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Steph. Tonight I play in a project called Just Abandon Myself, which is just me. I also play guitar or bass, depending on the situation, in a grindcore band called Ixias. And I write everything and play guitar and vocals in a death metal band called Entrails Asphyxiation. And I do sound at like a million places. So I'm like a general music head person.
Cool. What makes you, for Just Abandon Myself, what makes you, or what do you write songs about, rather?
Ooh, that's a good question. It kind of like, it has changed a lot over the years. When I first started this project, it had no lyrics whatsoever. It was just like it was basically like noise, but with guitar and synth. And then the first EP, I wrote about, only 2 of the songs on that have lyrics. So the first one was about, I don't know, just like general betrayal and my first experiences with realizing that like people aren't always fair. And the second song, and I don't know how dark I can get on here, but the second song was about planning to kill yourself and then waiting so long on the process of like figuring out how to do that you end up just finding reasons to stay alive along the way. Yeah. And that kind of bled through into the album, the one album that I have with this thing out. Although there's also like songs about like general spiritual awakenings. Like I don't consider myself like a religious person in the traditional sense, but I do like, I don't know, I do shrooms, I do fucking ketamine, like I'm like a wook. And I don't know, it was kind of like themes on that and like ways in which I've like pieced apart my own psyche in a bid to like be less of a piece of shit. Like, I don't know, I don't think I'm a piece of shit, but like I don't think I'm a piece of shit because of stuff like that. And that's honestly kind of bled through into my other bands. Like that is the central theme of the full length that I just wrote for my death metal thing, and was the theme on a couple of the songs on the EP, just told through very different language. Like obviously with that I'm talking about, you know, blood and guts, but with Just Abandon Myself it's like flowers and fairies, but it's all like metaphors for the same shit, like sure, within myself. So yeah, I would say like, to give a non-long-winded answer to that question, I would say like ultimately all these songs are about like being afraid of not knowing yourself and ways in which you approach uncovering every part of yourself, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who would you say you make music for?
People with pronouns, people with like septum piercings, people with I don't know, I would say just people that like, I don't know. I guess the answer that everyone would say, and it's true for me, is like I make it for my damn self. Like I have bands playing in my head all the time because of just like how like exposed I've made myself to music. And it's just kind of like all my bands are just like audio journals and like me actualizing that. In terms of like a target audience with this project specifically, it's been really hard to pin one down, and that's kind of what excites me about this project, and also what confuses me about what I've created. Where like in the span of this project, like I've played like doom shows, goth shows, industrial shows, noise shows, like death metal shows. Like tonight was a screamo show. Like I'm kind of all over the place, and I don't really like want to change that, because I feel like that's always been the aesthetic of the, or not the aesthetic, the like mission statement of the band from its inception. Where like, it's named after a Boris song, and I don't sound anything like Boris, but the reason I chose to name it after a Boris song is because like Boris do what the fuck they want, and like from album to album they sound like a completely different band, but there's always that through line of like, oh, but you can tell it's Boris from like the way they play it, the way they deliver it. And so like, I don't know, I kind of want to embody that with this project. Like I've done so many different styles, from like doom and noise to industrial, goth, whatever, that like, I don't know, I guess I make music for whoever will have me.
Gotcha.
if that's not a cop-out answer.
No, not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. If you could go back in time at any point in your life and tell yourself one thing, knowing what you know now, what would that be?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
It's a doozy of a
There's
question.
so much. I've thought about this. I've literally thought about this so
Yeah.
much, and I still don't, like, know. I mean, I think, again, not to get dark out of nowhere, but, like, being sober earlier, I'm still, like, not sober, but I have, like, a control over what I do now, thankfully. I feel like, I don't know. What else? I guess, like, realizing or allowing myself to realize that it's okay to be hurt, and it's okay to it's not okay to hurt other people, but you're gonna do it, and that when you do it, what makes you not a piece of shit is knowing you did in the moment and, like, fixing that. That's something I wish I knew. I did learn it fairly early on in comparison to my peers, so I feel like some pride in that. What else? Oh, learn how to hang out with people. That's another big thing. That's, like, honestly even, like, a recent struggle where, like, I never really, like, learned how to just hang out. There was always some pretext. We're at a show, we're smoking, we're doing some shit, you know what I mean? And I wish I, like, learned that skill earlier, because it's something that I feel like I'm only now getting my bearing with, and I don't know. I'm content with where I am in that process, especially because, like, you know, in lieu of hanging out, I've been grinding at music and, like, at shows and shit, and that's bore fruit in its own lanes, but, like, I don't know. Those would probably be my big things. A transition earlier, that's every trans person I feel like is going to say that, you know. I transitioned early enough, like, I'm content with that, but, like, yeah, definitely should have done that the first month. I was like, damn, something's up.
Yeah, more confidence in it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Especially because, like, I don't know, I came out and it was, like, kind of not a big deal, and that makes me feel like kind of a piece of shit, because I'm like, there's so many of us that can't say that, but, like, I don't know. I felt imposter syndrome about it where I shouldn't have, but yeah. Those are my answers.
Gotcha. Is there anything else you'd like to say to people listening? Any message, shout out, whatnot?
Shout out Ash from Poorly Wrote Suicide Note right now. No, I don't know. Make music or whatever art form you do, just, like, do it as much as you can until you burn out, and then you start the next thing and do that as much as you can until you burn out, and just, like, push yourself in ways that, like, I don't know, make you question yourself. Everyone, I feel like, you know, a lot of people think they know who they are, and they don't. And I feel like the only way to really know who you are is to, like, this is, like, hyperbolic language, like, obviously take care of yourself, but is to, like, break yourself in certain ways and, like, push yourself to certain limits, and then, like, in those, under that veil of, like, a healthy level of stress, that's when, like, shit about yourself is really exposed. I would also I don't know, listen to more blast beats. Blast beats are cool. I didn't play a single one tonight, but they're very cool.
Yeah, more blast beats, less emo.
I don't know, I kind of, like, I'm on my upward swing. I, like, loved emo in high school, and then I was like, fuck that, I'm too cool, I listen to fucking death metal now. Ugh. And then I, like, went to only death metal concerts, and I'm like, these people are just as annoying as emo people, and now I like emo again.
Yeah, music people in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, and it's all regional too, you know, like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like, metal people in Philly here are cool. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but, like, going from, like, where I used to live to here, like, night and day with the emo community. Like, it's so much cooler here. I feel like it's, like, tied into how poor you are, tied into, like, your, like, upbringing, racial demographics, so many other things. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Steph.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for interviewing me. This is a new experience. And thanks for playing. I had a lot of fun at the show.